Rockipedia featured artist Van Halen Part 2. The band was in search of a new vocalist when Eddie's car mechanic introduced Eddie to former Montrose frontman and solo artist Sammy Hagar. Eddie then invited Sammy to come hang out at his 5150 studio and jam. Sammy came down to the studio and they immediately hit it off and they felt a chemistry right from the beginning. Sammy was also familiar with Ted Templeman, who was producing all of the Van Halen albums, because he produced Montrose's first album and Sammy's solo record, VOA, in 1984. Sammy decided he liked what he saw, and he liked the band, and liked the guys, and he joined the band. Other considerations before Sammy was Patti Smythe and Daryl Hall, who both declined to be Van Halen's singer. Sammy and the boys began writing songs together in the 5150 studio. Warner Brothers president Mo Austin at the time stopped by to hear some of the new material. They were working on the new song, Why Can't This Be Love? Mo liked it so much that he said to the guys, I smell money. The band began to record their new album, and on March 24th, with their brand new singer, in 1986, they released their first album with Sammy, their 7th studio album, 5150.
It's got what it takes, so tell me why can't this be love? Straight from my heart, oh, tell me why can't this be love?
So the big question was, will the fan base accept Sammy with Van Halen? Well, about 5150 being the band's top, how about this? The 5150 was the band's top selling album ever, and the first Van Halen album to ever reach #1 status. Sounds like a pretty good acceptance to me. Produced by Mick Jones of Foreigner, this album definitely delivers. With very catchy songs, Eddie stuck his finger up at the critics who criticized him for playing keyboards in 1984 by writing 3 more hit singles on the keyboards: Love Comes Walking In, Dreams, and Why Can't This Be Love. Along with other great upbeat catchy songs like Best of Both Worlds, Get Up, Summer Nights, and the title track 5150, which is a police code for a mentally disturbed person. This album kicks ass, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of you Roth fans out there did not like Sammy with Van Halen, but I can't take away from what Sammy did with this band and put out a kick-ass first album with this band. 5150 definitely deserves a 5 out of 5 stars. During the 5150 tour, they recorded a live DVD, Live Without a Net. Sammy, not a shabby guitarist by any means, also added some rhythm and lead guitar playing to the Van Halen shows. Even with the success of the album, they had mixed feelings in the Van Halen fan base. A lot of fans were not happy with Sammy not wanting to perform any of the Roth era songs. They would perform like maybe 2 during every show. Mostly Ain't Talking About Love and You Really Got Me. During the show, Sammy would even add few of his solo songs like I Can't Drive 55 and There's Only One Way to Rock. So to be honest, most of the fan base were Sammy fans and VH fans who accepted him. The loyal Roth era fans kind of shied away and supported Roth on his solo career. After the success of 5150, they released their 8th studio album on May 24th, 1988, entitled Oh, You 812.
Come on, baby, finish what you started. I'm incomplete. That ain't no way to treat the broken hearted. I need some sympathy. I like to look.
Well, the chances of topping 5150 an album that reached platinum status within 1 week by selling 1 million copies, were slim at best. So, with saying that, this album doesn't stand up even close. Besides a couple good songs on the album, like the hit single When It's Love, which hit number 5 on the Billboard charts, and other singles Finish What You Started and Black and Blue, this wasn't a well-mixed or produced album, ladies and gentlemen. I even questioned if Michael Anthony even played on this record because I could barely hear his bass tracks. A lot of people said that the Van Halen brothers did that purposely because they weren't happy with Mike's playing. Either way, the album wasn't so great. I give it a 2 out of 5 stars. On June 19th, 1991, brought us studio album number 9, entitled For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
So tomorrow, right now, come on, it's everything. Right now, get your magic moment, do it right here and now. It means everything.
Clever title, fans always calling it the fuck album. When I can say that a 4-letter word, after listening to this album, that 4-letter word kind of was in my vocabulary. Besides the hit singles Right Now, Top of the World, and even starting a song with a battery-operated drill on Pound Cake, couldn't save this album from being a mediocre album. Some interesting guitar riffs through the album, which kept me a little interested, so I'll give it a generous 3 out of 5 stars. In 1992, the band won a Grammy Award for Best Rock Band Performance with Vocal. The band then released their next album, their 10th studio album, Balance.
Can't stop loving you, and no matter what I say or do, you know my heart is true. Oh, I can't stop loving you.
Finally, they put together some real good songs for an album. Their second album to hit number 1 status and going triple platinum by 2004. The hit singles Can't Stop Loving You, Amsterdam, Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do, along with cool tracks like The Seventh Seal, Not Enough, and Aftershock, brings a good, hard-hitting rock album with some of a soft edge with the ballads. Definitely the second best album they made with Sammy, in my opinion. Besides a few fillers with pointless instrumentals, which I didn't understand what they were doing there, I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. In 1996, the band agreed to write a few songs for the movie Twister. They recorded Human Beings. Eddie didn't like the lyrics Sammy wrote and was pissed that Sammy wasn't around to fix it. So he changed them and the melody of the song on his own. This is while Sammy was in Hawaii for the birth of his child. This pissed Sammy off. Then the band announced that they were releasing a greatest hits featuring 2 new songs with Roth, and was going to feature greatest hits of Roth and Hagar. Well, Sammy was not happy about them inviting Roth to do 2 new tracks for the greatest hits album, and told him he didn't want Hagar, his version of the greatest hits album, to come out. He said, just do the Roth version and do your 2 songs. Well, the band disagreed, and they released the album with both versions of the greatest hits. Well, this took Sammy from pissed to livid, and quit the band on Father's Day in 1996. When the 4 original members presented an award on 1996 MTV Awards, Roth made a complete ass out of himself on stage. Ooh, what a surprise. And embarrassed the rest of the guys. Especially when they had rumors swearing that there would be a Roth reunion after the band presented this award. The very next day, Roth claimed he was a victim of a publicity stunt by the Van Halen brothers. Eddie and Alex responded by saying they said there was no guarantee or even talks of a reunion with Roth. We don't even know what the hell he's talking about. So they began to audition singers. They decided on Extreme's lead vocalist Gary Cherone. Bad move. They went into the studio to work on a new album, so with their new singer in place, they released their 11th studio album on March 17th, 1998, entitled Van Halen 3. Well, Van Halen 3 was simply titled because it was the third version of this band with their third lead singer. And I never thought I would say that an album featuring the greatest guitar player on the planet would put me to sleep. Well, this one did, ladies and gentlemen. This album is a snoozer. It's a terrible, terrible album. Michael Anthony was picked on. I guess they were taking it out on him because they only used 3 of his bass tracks on this album, with Eddie recording the rest. Poor Mike, this poor guy. The only recognition it received, this album, was for a song, Fire in the Hole, which was featured in the movie Lethal Weapon 4. I'm not even going to give this a rating or waste any more time, ladies and gentlemen. Van Halen 3 is a disaster. Let's move on. The fan base began to die off, and they had to stop the Van Halen 3 tour midway through due to very poor ticket sales. Quickly, Sharon was out as quickly as he was in. The band went on hiatus for the next 4 years. During that time, Eddie had successful hip surgery. In the summer of 2002, Roth and Hagar, who were both obviously still pissed off at the Van Halen brothers, put together what I always called the Fuck You Van Halen Brothers Tour. They put bands together and planned a tour to play their versions of Van Halen songs. Well, even though it was a good idea, the tour did not complete because of, well, don't be shocked, ladies and gentlemen, sit down for this, because of David Lee Roth's ego. He was complaining about the two alternating who went on first for each show. That's what you call, ladies and gentlemen, a complete dick. Ooh, what an asshole. Surprisingly, after all this, Van Halen announced in March of 2004 that they were reuniting with Sammy for a compilation album and a summer tour. People got excited and all that, and nobody was more excited than Sammy and Mike and all the boys. But the tour did not go as well as they thought it would. Sammy claiming that Eddie's alcohol intake, he said he was a mess and affected his playing, his attitude, and even his hygiene, as he claimed he was nasty to everybody and he wouldn't bathe for days and would smell up on stage. That's how bad Eddie was at this time. So at the end of the tour, Sammy kind of rolled away from the band and went to jam with his band, the Wabos. Michael Anthony, not hearing anything from the Van Halen brothers during this whole time, was bored, so he began making special appearances and jamming with Sammy. The two became great friends while they were in Van Halen together. Well, this, of course, pissed off the Van Halen brothers. Mike claimed later on that the brothers didn't even want him to be on the reunion tour with Sammy, but Sammy refused to do it without Mike, and that's the reason Mike was on the tour. Ego much? Anyway, between 2006 and 2007, rumors stirred about a reunion with Roth, mostly out of Roth's mouth, and nothing came from it. The band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2007 with only Sammy and Mike showing up to receive the honor. Wow, that's pretty bad. But anyway, in September of 2007, when the band announced the brand new tour with finally, the reunion of David Lee Roth, Michael Anthony was not even mentioned, or was his picture featured on the website. Mike found out about the tour just like you and I did and all the fans did by hearing it through the media. Not even a phone call or a proper firing came Mike's way. The band went on tour with Eddie's son Wolfgang on the bass. The tour grossed $93 million, surprisingly. The band went on a hiatus again after this tour for some more years, then reunited once again for an album and tour in 2012. The band would go on tours off and on until 2015. I seen one of these shows, ladies and gentlemen, of the reunion tour, and clearly to me the vocals were not there because Michael's back vocals were one of the most incredible back vocal singers of all time, was not there, and David Lee Roth, who never was a great singer in my mind, or was always known for his frontman skills, not his singing skills, was horrible. So I wasn't that excited on the reunion tour, and maybe not too many people either, because after 2015 the band has not been heard of up until this very day. Rumors, of course, are going to continue to circulate, but as of right now, this very day, nothing is in place for the future of the band, or if there is one. Besides egos galore here, Van Halen